is an emergency live stream. Please stand by for a Smitty announcement. Alert! Alert! This is an emergency live stream. Please stand by for a Smitty announcement. Alert! Alert! This is an emergency live stream. Please stand by for a Smitty announcement. Alert! Alert! This is an emergency live stream. Please stand by for a Smitty announcement. Alert! Alert! This is an emergency live stream. Please stand by for a Smitty announcement. Alert! Alert! This is an emergency live stream. Please stand by for a Smitty announcement.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Wow. What a week one. Ups and downs, good and bad. I know people are going to come in here hot talking about, some of the players I may have been down on that did well. Some people are coming in hot with players I was high on that did well. We got a mixed bag. Look, I'm speaking about 1,000 different things minimum every time I go live. There's predictions getting shot out of my mouth, and I've got to take accountability. We also get to have fun when guys like Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Swift go off and have monster days, but there are somber notes. There's a Joe Burrow gone missing for 3 quarters. He did bounce back and look really good in that fourth quarter. Should have led him to a victory, but that was a crazy ending to a game. But Joe Burrow, I don't have any concerns for. If anybody's like walking out of week one, knee-jerk reacting to Joe Burrow, not bouncing back. Jamar Chase did phenomenal. Burrow commanded that fourth quarter. It was a rough game. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense needs some credit, okay, because they're looking really good. They were very underrated by everybody, even people that like Pittsburgh as a D. They came in and went crazy. We had Dameon Pierce dropping the ball in week 1, but here's kind of like what I don't want people to do. Like Barkley came out and looked great, and I have to say Barkley looked not just good, he looked great. He looked very strong, very tough. I can admit when somebody changes my mind. Barkley looked phenomenal. My concern with Barkley is still, will he stay healthy? It doesn't matter how good he looks, will he stay healthy? That's a concern. But to be honest with you, that's the only concern left at this point. I do believe he looks strong. His knee is not a concern any longer, and he proved what he needed to prove to me. And I told you, a third rounder, I'm not avoiding him, but I don't love him at the top of round 3. Now I do. If I could go back in time and get in a time machine, I'd take Barkley at the top of 3. I'd take Barkley at the bottom of 2. I might take Barkley in the middle of round 2. Look, I'm going to change my mind. I'm a human being. I'm not going to be right on everything. Swift was amazing. Barkley was amazing. I was high on one. I was not so high on the other. It's going to happen. I'm not perfect. No one's going to be perfect. I know a lot of people are very disappointed in Dameon Pierce not showing up and delivering. But guess what? Reacting, knee-jerk reacting, Monday morning quarterbacking, knee-jerk reactions to Breece Hall, which we knew that would be something that would come out of today. Like, people would react when we already knew what time it was. We understood the assignment. Breece Hall's not getting the early down work yet. He still looked very decent. He just didn't get the volume, and nor did we expect him to. Now, Michael Carter looked good. Breece Hall, like, everyone's going to say, oh, now it's time to panic on Breece Hall. No. You didn't, unless you bought Breece Hall at third round value when he was at his peak. You could be a little concerned at that cost of entry, because how are you making up for that in your lineup if you're unable to use Breece Hall or you're not sure what to do with him? But if you bought him at 4 or 5 round value, he's going to return that eventually. I fully believe that. Is it a guarantee? No, it's not a guarantee. Nothing's a guarantee. I know some people are going to come in here and say, Smitty, James Robinson looked good. ETN looked like crap. That's true. Today it's true. Today it's true. Tomorrow, I don't know what it'll be. Tomorrow, I know that ETN dropped, I believe, 2 touchdown passes. He dropped 1, but he dropped another opportunity that could have been a touchdown pass. ETN could have walked away with a very different stat line. He could have had at least 1 touchdown, maybe 2, and then we'd be talking a little bit different about ETN and James Robinson coexisting. Not, oh, it's a James Robinson show. I think people are going to overreact a little bit on J-Rob. J-Rob did score 2 touchdowns. Had he not, he wouldn't have had the stat line he does in everyone's mind right now. I like the way J-Rob looked, and I've made it no secret that they're unrelated. ETN can survive even if J-Rob's doing what J-Rob is supposed to do. Snoop Connor would come in and do it if J-Rob couldn't. I'm glad J-Rob looks like he's up for the task. I don't know that he'll finish inside the top 10 or 15 running backs in fantasy football, but we do want him to keep the defenses honest and use ETN all over the field. ETN should have had 2 touchdowns, but he didn't. He dropped the ball. Literally dropped the ball. That's not even meant to be a pun. He dropped the ball. ETN was one of, and still is, the best pass catching back to come out of college. One of the top 2 or 3 in the last 5 years. I have no concerns about him turning it around. What I have concerns about are the Jacksonville Jaguars offense and the way that it feels. It feels like the shadow of Urban Meyer is still hanging around. So I'm a little concerned about that. I'm not going to lie. ETN is worrying me, not because of ETN, but because what's the offense going to look like go forward? Now, it had some good points and bad points, some ups and downs. I don't know what to say on ETN. I'll be honest. Right now, I need to digest where to go with ETN. I believe ETN is going to be a good buy low. I think ETN will be on the buy low list. Will I have some caution attached to the buy low recommendation on ETN? Sure. Will it have some caution attached to the Dameon Pierce buy low recommendation? Absolutely. But make no mistake about it. I told you this before week 1 kicked off. It happens every year. I tell you every single offseason it's going to happen walking into week 1. Everyone can pretend they're not going to have knee-jerk reactions. Everybody can laugh at all the Bobs and fantasy Karens and fantasy worried Williams out there and say, look at them. They're overreacting Olivers. They come in here on Monday morning and they overreact. What a buffoon. Ha ha. But then all of a sudden everybody becomes that worried William. And I can't tell you how many people DM'd me and messaged me on my text line. And how many people, personal friends, are messaging me, oh, Burrow looks real good, doesn't he? It's over. Burrow, RIP, rest in peace. Like, week 1 is not about overreacting. It's about, in my opinion, identifying all of the players that may be on the decline, but permanently, right? And we stay away from those players. We sell high, even if they're dipping a little bit. We go find a person that's an eager Edgar, and we say, hey, eager Edgar, I'll give you my declining, and I don't think it's turning around. Let's say it's ETN in your mind. You don't think ETN's going to actually be what we thought he might be. Let's say you're going to knee-jerk react on that one after 1 week, and you really believe that in your heart of hearts. You could go to an eager Edgar and say, I'll trade you ETN. And in his mind, he's like, buy low season. I love ETN. I love bargains. I'm going to go get ETN. You can still sell high on a player that is dipping a little bit if you find the right trade partner. So selling ETN, not high, but medium is doable. But everybody's going to come in and overreact to an extreme degree. And everybody that said they weren't going to do it, still going to do it. 80% of everyone. And in some ways I do it too. I'm a little bit better at not doing it because I have this objective lens that I look through. You all are looking through your teams and at your teams from a certain lens. You can't help it. I'm looking at this. I'm looking out for you. I'm looking at it from a big picture, high level perspective. I don't really care about one team or another team or this team. I do so many leagues that I don't even feel what player is going to help me the most or hurt me the most. If ETN runs in a touchdown, how many leagues am I losing in playing in so many leagues? I could care less about one player versus another. What I care about is guiding the ship the best way I can, trying to divert the ship when we might be looking toward troubled waters with a Burrow or a Chase or whoever. And I don't feel that way about Burrow. I don't feel that way about Chase. Chase should have had 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase didn't get his feet in and dropped 2 additional touchdowns in conjunction with his 1 touchdown. Jamar Chase may have had a 3 TD, 200-yard game, and then everybody would be singing his praises instead of saying, okay, he's good, I like him, I'm worried about Burrow, but Burrow overshadowed how good Jamar Chase actually did do, considering he literally botched 2 other additional touchdowns, Jamar Chase. So there's a lot to go over. Trey Lance looked very shaky. Not so much him, but the Niners. The Niners and him are one and the same. If the Niners can't, march the football down the field as a unit, Trey Lance could definitely be absolutely a disappointment. But it is week 1. It was muddy waters. It was like a swimming pool out on the field. So everyone should cut Debo and Trey Lance some slack. Worry about Eli Mitchell, who's already hurt, who I predict probably won't play next week. If they're smart, if they try to play him, he'll probably get hurt again. Now what do? Who do you pick up? We're going to tackle all that on the waiver wire show tomorrow. But do you pick up a guy like Wilson, who probably is the immediate backup, but probably won't be long term? Do you take a Jordan Mason, who's the best backup in the Niners situation? There's so much to go over, so much to digest. Michael Thomas looking good. Admittedly, Barkley looked good. Michael Thomas looked good. DeAndre Swift looked like a top 3 running back. DeAndre Swift. Can we at least celebrate some of these guys? We're gonna go over some of the negatives because we want to make sure, are we still going in this direction, Smitty? Are we still Smitty? But Smitty, are we still on board this Joe Burrow thing? Hey Smitty, are we just dropping Dameon Pierce? There's so much to go over. I couldn't possibly attack it all in a single live stream. I understand that. I'm not going to pretend that I can tackle it all tonight. I'll do my best. There are things I don't know yet or haven't quite absorbed yet. I want to be honest with you. I'm here to try and guide the ship the best that I can through troubled and muddy waters. It will always be troubled and muddy, especially coming out week 1. Your boy Smitty can't get everything 100% right. I'm going to miss. I'm going to be pessimistic on a guy and want him to prove it like Barkley, and then he comes out and does it, and he looks really good. He looks really good. Chubb actually had some really good numbers, even though Chubb looked like he was missing if you watched the NFL Red Zone half the time like I did on that particular time when Chubb was going off, because they didn't show much of his work. And I'm like, man, Kareem Hunt's looking good. What's going on with Nick Chubb? Nick Chubb had an amazing game. There's so much to digest here. Packers looked awful. The Aaron Rodgers looked awful. It's buy low season. It's buy low season. There's so much to go over. Jonathan Taylor quietly looked like he wasn't doing much because, again, if you flipped around or you're watching the red zone, you didn't get a chance to see some of these people running the football like Chubb and Jonathan Taylor doing it quietly under the radar. Miles Sanders had a good game, but do you sell high or do you ride the wave? Do you ride that Philadelphia Eagle wave, which we all knew was going to be riding high, not crashing early, and taking people into the promised land on surfboards above water with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown leading the way.
Mashed potatoes!
But Miles Sanders, a guy I said, no way I'm going near, had a 96-yard and a touchdown game. Pretty decent outing, if you ask me. Guess who was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leading rusher in week number 1 so far, heading into the Sunday night game? Guess who was the, 6 leading rusher? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who's number 6? Take a guess. I want to know who you think. Don't look, don't cheat. Who was the number 6 rusher in the NFL coming out of week 1, morning and afternoon games only? Someone drop a name. Give me a guess. Anybody? Not King Henry says double V. Anybody? Give me a guess. Give me a guess. Guess who? Guess who? Jalen Hurts. Number 6. The 6th leading rusher in week number 1. This man came out on a tear. He didn't even throw he didn't throw touchdown passes. He did it all on the ground. Imagine when he starts throwing some missiles into the end zone to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard, and it's going to happen. This guy's a good quarterback. A good quarterback. Swift was number 2 with 144 yards. Let me pull up this. Let's pull up the stats and take a look and take a little peek at this, because it's a doozy. Look at Jonathan Taylor, the number 1 rusher on the week with a $161, 31 attempts, 1 TD. DeAndre Swift, 144, 15 attempts. Only 15 attempts and a touchdown. Nick Chubb, 141 on 22 totes of the rock. Cordero Patterson. Okay, look, this is one I was wrong about because he's too old, right? He's too old. He's still doing it. He carried last year over into this year. Tyler Algier was a last-minute inactive. Cordero came out and ran for 120 and a touchdown, continuing on where he left off. Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Miles Sanders, 96 and 1 TD on 13 totes. That 13 totes is what's going to get you, because if you expect this to happen again, then I don't know. I would sell high. We're going to have Miles Sanders on the sell high list. I can pretty much guarantee you that. Then we got Mixon with the 82 and a 0 TDs. Taysom Hill, 81 yards. I don't know if you guys, when you do the best ball drafts in the offseason, there's always a sorcery move, like a move of that no one's going to see coming. And Taysom Hill was the tight end 3 move of all tight end 3 moves in best ball draft, or even tight end 2. You draft your normal tight end. You might even back up that tight end, and then you come in and you grab Taysom Hill as your 3rd tight end in best ball, and then he comes in and drops fire. Let's see here. We got to refresh this, because Saquon Barkley needs to be on there. Sorry about that. Saquon Barkley, 164 and 1 TD. Jonathan Taylor, 161. So Hurts was number 7 rushing the football in week. Oh, no, Cook passed him too. Okay, so number 8. I apologize. Number 8. Hurts looking so phenomenal. Love Hurts. Love me some Hurts in 2022. So Barkley, 164, 18 totes of the rock, 1 TD, as I mentioned at the top. I see a couple of the Barkley comments. Like, you can go watch the beginning of the show. I already talked about it, like already for like 5 minutes. But Barkley looks great. He looks great. He looks strong. All he's got to do is stay healthy, and he's going to continue to do well because they're using him properly. They're using him well. He looks angry. He's running strong. I like what I see. I love what I see out of Barkley. He looks phenomenal. I am still worried about him getting hurt, but that's only one red flag now. I told you, avoiding a player for me, and again, he was a third rounder to me, not a complete avoid or a bust, but a third rounder. He looks like a second, top of the second round pick right now. He looks phenomenal. And the only reason I ever avoid a player is when there's multiple red flags. The offense is definitely one to be concerned about at times, but they still moved the ball. They still made a game out of this. They still figured out a way to move the football. Daboll's good. Daboll understands what he has, and he makes the most of what he has. And Barkley's going to continue to do well as long as he stays healthy. He looks phenomenal. He looks strong. I like the way he looks right now. Now, if you traded him, a lot of the trade advice last week was to go get DeAndre Swift. He had 144 yards and 1 TD. Look phenomenal too. If I had to rank my top, 5 running backs right now, go forward, Swift is 100% in the top 4, top 5. Barkley's flirting with that top 5 range. It is week 1. I am going to take a little bit of a digestive attempt at absorbing everything that is in front of us here. But Barkley looks like he's on that cusp of top 5 for 2022. All he's got to do is stay healthy. Godwin, says Jordan Roberts. Let me put this game on right here, because I need to put this game on, because as I'm talking, I'm missing this intro part here. Come on, load. Let's see here. Pierce, Etienne hurt me this week. Pierce and Etienne hurt a lot of people this week, but you're gonna not want to knee-jerk react on this and get rid of them for pennies on the dollar. There's something to be said for it's week 1. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of these guys, it's week 1. Let me put the super chats right here. There are going to be a lot of knee-jerk reactions coming in hot. I'm going to try to understand where you're coming from when you come in hot about it, but let's remember that you also make your own decisions. So when you come in here and get upset at me about something, I'm not going to hit everything 100%. You make your own decisions. I try and guide you the best I can. I will not be right 100% of the time. I will change directions when players show me something different than I expected, like Saquon Barkley, and I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to hit on other things too. For every Barkley we have a couple other things that hit. So let's calm down on the whole, I told you about Barkley, Smitty. You're going to pay for this. I understand. I understand how good Barkley looked. I like him. He looks really good. What do you want me to say? He looks phenomenal right now. Am I worried about him getting hurt? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know at this point. He looks strong. He looks absolutely strong. Christian McCaffrey, I still worry about him getting hurt. Derrick Henry, I still worry about him getting hurt. Najee, we got to figure out what's going on with Najee. More news to come on that. Swift looks fantastic. I love Swift. Blaming others for your bad team is so bad. A lot of people are going to do it. It's fine. Burrow did good. Look, Burrow did pretty darn good for having 5 turnovers. Let's just be honest. Burrow looked phenomenal for having 5 turnovers. How do you come out of that scoring? In one league, he scored me 22. Another league, he scored me like 28, 29 points, and he had a horrible game. So people are going to freak out on Burrow, but the bottom line is Burrow looked really good inside that final fourth quarter. I'm watching Leonard Fournette. I'm watching Brady. It's a 3-0 game. Dallas is up 3-0. Tampa Bay looks like they're going to have some trouble moving the ball on the ground, in my opinion, given the injuries to the offensive line. We shall see. I can't get Smitty to answer about Jaylen Warren. Because I'm trying to, bro, there's so many questions coming in here. It's not me ignoring you. It's me trying to address everything that's going on top of the Super Chats and questions. So let's relax a little bit, okay? Super Chat here. And if you would have asked your question, Engage, I could have answered it right then. Jaylen Warren, do you pick him up? Absolutely. He could be one of, if not the top waiver wire pickup of the year. We're waiting on Najee Harris news to know what's going on. But everybody's, the one lesson I want to emphasize here, even on Barkley for the good, even on Swift for the good, even on Jalen Hurts for the good, even on Joe Burrow for the bad, even on Dameon Pierce for the bad. Everybody needs to pump the brakes on all different avenues and directions of this week 1 outing. Everyone needs to pump the brakes. If you're getting too excited about a player or you're too down on a player, remember it's probably somewhere in between. It's probably somewhere in between. And if you start freaking out in one direction or the other and making dumb, reckless moves because you want to get rid of Dameon Pierce right now, I want to wash my hands of him. Let me get rid of ETN. I don't want anything to do with him. Then you're going to lose. You're going to get bit if you try and do something too quickly and don't let it all be absorbed. Okay, so we're going to work it out. We're going to work the waiver wire. We're going to do that video tomorrow. Tomorrow's waiver wire, the waiver wire show. Tuesday's the panic chamber. Wednesday's the buy low, sell high. Thursday will be some form of phone calls or Q&A or start bench advice. Friday will be fantasy football court. Saturday will be another start bench show. And that's how the shows are going to roll in the evening or the uploads. So get ready for it. We're going to have tons of content. And then, of course, we have the Monday through Friday show. Some of those we may do on the Monday through Friday show, depending on time. But those usually will not be taking place of anything on the Monday through Friday show. The Monday through Friday show is essentially a news show mainly. And everything else is on top of that. So the schedule on the main YouTube banner will kind of map out what you're looking at for the entire season. And I'm here for you. And I understand some people are frustrated. I understand some people are so mad that Pierce didn't do anything. I know some people are mad that they had Saquon and I wasn't super high on Saquon. I get it. Look, no one's going to hit all this. No one. If you're expecting me to be perfect, you're expecting something that can't happen with anybody. But what I will do is adapt and adjust better than anybody you know, because I don't dig my heels in and just try and be right on it or just try and make sure that I'm historically correct from the beginning of time. I adjust and adapt as the information comes in. Just like everybody should adjust and adapt on how good Clyde Edwards-Helaire looks right now. He's in a pretty darn good situation. Clyde Edwards-Helaire looks pretty solid right now. I think, so looking at the top running backs right here, we've got 164 yards and 1 TD out of Saquon Barkley. A real important stat I want to point out is Saquon Barkley was one of the only running backs to have a 40-plus yard run. Saquon Barkley was also one of the only running backs. There's a small handful that had 2 20-plus yard runs. So the point is Saquon Barkley didn't just have good numbers. He looked strong, and he had long runs. He was aggressive. This is one game. Doesn't mean he's the number 1 overall running back in fantasy football just because as of right now he's ranking there. But he's certainly making a case for, hey, I'm here. I'm going to be top 5 to 10, and you're going to have to deal with it. So that's certainly in the cards. ETN is a big concern right now. Not going to lie. I'm concerned about ETN. Not so much for ETN, but I'm concerned about ETN because of the offense. And I just feel like if he would have caught that touchdown pass, or he should have had 2 touchdown passes, it would have been a whole different story and conversation. Because Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 2 touchdowns, not a ton of yardage, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire exited week 1 with a whole bunch of hype, and yeah, we're excited about him. So touchdowns can do that for you. ETN was on the verge of having touchdowns, and he just dropped them. I'm going to be 2-0 in my 2 leagues, smoking them. Thanks for the advice, Smitty. Appreciate you, Jeff. And Jeff's one that's getting good advice. Sometimes I may have advised you to go get Dameon Pierce, who I still believe in, but he's a buy low now because he had a struggling week. And if you're on the other end of that piece of advice, you're probably mad right now. But you make your own decisions, and I'm here to try and do the best I can for you, and I'll continue to. This is the way week 1 works. People are frustrated in week 1. People come out of week 1 upset. People come out of week 1 trying to blame somebody. And we need to just group together, figure out using groupthink who the best players to trade for and trade away are. Work it out through the phone calls, have good conversations, and come to conclusions that I think as groupthink will guide you all and me and everybody we expose this channel to in a positive and healthy fashion. So let's turn whatever disappointment you have around and get your team on the right track. And maybe that means you don't touch it and you just kind of play it safe. That was almost an INT for Dak Prescott by that Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense. This super chat by Caden says, Smitty, I have the worst luck. Started Swift, JJ, and AJB. Still have Javonte, and I'm probably going to lose. Also, Mike Williams equals a ghost. Who are you going up against, Caden? That is crazy to have that team. And, oh, my God. Okay. Elliott was always going to look good week one. He's healthy. That's exactly the point. Anybody that's going to take that from week one, Elliott's going to break down at some point. You know, it's just a matter of time now. Could he break down next year and have a mediocre year? Sure. It's possible. Like I said, roulette wheel. Everybody's a roulette wheel. And Burrow almost killed me, but I got A.J. Brown and Chase to save the day. Saquon went ballistic as well. I'm 130-45 and still have Javonte and DK tomorrow. Excellent job, Hamburglar. Good job, pal. Nice job. Barkley's looking good. Absolutely B4M. He looks fantastic. Mike Williams, Casper the Ghost. Absolutely. Vanished. Milk Carton, A.J. Brown, and Mike Williams are hanging out together somewhere on a beach as far as we know. Can't stand all of the overreacting. Wow, we'll stick with ETN and Pierce. I hope so. Look, Mike, I deal with it every offseason. Every week one, coming out of the offseason into week one. The offseason is such a drain on me. And not in a bad way. I'm not complaining. I have the best job in the world. But it is a drain. It's like you get to the end and you put everything you have into it, and you're literally about to collapse at the end of the offseason. You do the last show like I did last night, 3.5 hours, sitting here answering questions, walking into the evening, like I'm on like 3 hours of sleep, answering the text line, all that. You come out, and then you have players disappoint, and I had tons of players land. We had a lot of players land. We had Swift land. We Hurts and A.J. Brown, and list goes on and on. Even St. Brown did well, even though he started out kind of shaky. We've got a lot of players landing that we're promoting on the show on a consistent basis. The problem is when you're in a position like me, you're giving so much advice. You're going to give bad advice on every show. I'm going to give a handful of people bad advice on every single show because I'm asked thousands of questions. Sometimes in one show, I'm asked well over 1,000 questions. I'm asked sometimes double that, I would imagine. And I'm going to get stuff wrong. It's the way it is. And all I do is adjust and adapt the best I can. And that's what we're going to do moving forward. WRM says, hey, Smitty, trading Mahomes, Kelsey for Burrow, Chase, and Goddard. We'll have Burrow, Chase, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. That's a tough trade, bro, because, I do worry about Kelsey staying healthy. He's getting older, but they looked really good. They're going against the Cardinals. I don't know. I like that trade. I probably do that trade because I like Goddard a lot, but like Mahomes and Kelsey are so strong. Yeah. I don't do that. I don't think I do that trade. I don't know. I love Swift. I say no, WRM. And the chat's saying no too. I would get more. You deserve to get more. You're trading like pre-week one stuff, bro. You need to keep Mahomes and Kelsey. I don't think I'd make that move. It's not that I wouldn't make that move. Yeah, I don't know. It's not that I wouldn't make that move. I would make a little bit better move. Because Mahomes and Kelsey should be top shelf value right now. You need to adjust and adapt your trade value and the expectation. I would get more. I think you could get more. Burrow and Chase and Goddard, that's not enough for Mahomes and Kelsey in today's market. It was good heading into week one. It's not good anymore. It's good, but it's not great. You're getting less than you should be getting back. Go get more, bro. Go get more. That's not enough. You use the current value, the current state of affairs to your advantage. I was in the room full of Eagles haters, and I said A.J. Brown would ball out like you said, and he did. You're the man, and so is ETN. Don't worry, kids. Thank you, Nate. Appreciate your super chat. Nate with the $20 holler.
Mashed potatoes!
Appreciate you, buddy boy. Yeah, so don't do that trade, WRM. You deserve a lot more. You can't trade off of yesterday's value. You got to trade off today's value. Kelsey goes for 150 if Cardinals put up a fight. Devontae Smith, a goose egg. Trust in Devontae, but I wouldn't be opposed to putting him on the bench for a week if you had a better, safer option. ETN has tough matchups until Houston week 5. Might be worth a wait and see. Maybe. Smitty buddy, don't worry about negative comments. You're better at advice than making apologies. Oh, okay. My bad. My bad. All right, let's go. Mark Cleveland in the house. Mark Cleveland says, hold Eno Benjamin and Zamir White. I mean, it just depends, bro. Like, you're waiting on an injury. Those are not guaranteed to give you anything right now at all. You're waiting on an injury. So I like Benjamin. He looked good at times, but he's not sitting in front of a starting job yet. If Connor went down, Benjamin would be a very hot commodity. Zamir White, you got to wait on that too. That's not something that's going to pop off yet either. ETN or Dylan go forward. Probably Dylan for right now until ETN proves it, but I'm not getting rid of ETN. I'm not doing that. Rashad White just got his first snap. Attaboy, Rashad. You skipped my super chat once again. I'm not trying to, bro. I'm going after it. Hold on. I'm trying to answer all these questions. Let's see here. Let me pull your super chat on. WRM again. Stay clear, bro. Get more. Where's your super chat? Jamie, thoughts on Hunt's game? That's a great question. Here you go, Aguero. I got it right here. Aguero says Taysom Hill is a viable tight end option. Yeah, I mean, he for sure is. He was a good backup tight end option, like I said the night before. And if something happens and he gets into a position where he could score a lot of points, you've got him on your bench sitting there waiting and you don't have to scoop him up. Likely and Taysom Hill are very good number 2 tight ends for your roster because then they can go in and you don't have to scramble to get them. If they all of a sudden get a whole bunch of volume and they start getting fed like monsters, you don't have to scramble to get them. So Taysom Hill and Likely are one and the same in that. Taysom Hill had such a good game, you could probably shove him right into your lineup if you've got shaky tight end play at all. But Taysom Hill and Likely are the best 2 backup tight ends in fantasy football. I'd rather have them than other tight ends that are ranked around 11, 12, 13, 14 overall, because these guys can, even though they may be outside of that right now, or they could be droppable in 5 weeks or whatever, they have the upside to be well above the 10, 11, 12 tight end ranking. I'm watching this Tampa Bay snap here. Tom Brady tossing the rock. No. Thank you for the super chat, Aguero. I did not mean to miss you, bro. I never mean to. Just let me know if I miss it, and I'll go back and find it. Thoughts on Hunt's game? Hunt was interesting because if you watch the red zone, they didn't key on showing. They didn't show much of any of Chubb's runs, and so you just saw Kareem Hunt ripping him off, and you thought to yourself, "Man, I don't know what's going on with Nick Chubb." And then they do a stat update, and you're like, "Whoa." And then at the end of the game, you look at Nick Chubb, 141 on 22 totes. He did very, very well. So Chubb had a day. Chubb had a nice day. And his long run was of 25 yards. So Chubb had a good day. Kareem Hunt had a good day as well. And we kind of knew Kareem Hunt would be a possible good play as a PPR option because they always lean to him for that aspect of their running room. And I think that's going to continue. Hunt clearly showed he's a nose for the end zone, a playmaker, good wide receiver option for this offense as they struggle to find their way without Watson trying to patchwork this thing together. And Hunt's a great flex play go forward at this point. So if you've got him and he's your flex, it's a really good flex play, bro. A really, really good one go forward. Derek, just 2 more points. I win week 1 in one of my leagues. Attaboy, Derek. Appreciate you dropping the super chat. Good buddy. Good pal. Who scored all the points for Jacksonville and Houston? Wasn't ETN or Pierce. Look, they both had bad games, bro. I mean, ETN should have had 2 touchdowns, and he dropped them. So I don't know what to say other than I'm disappointed in ETN. I'm not jumping ship. I think ETN could still be a very, very good fantasy football running back. It's week 1. Pierce didn't get the volume. He didn't get the volume. It was a positive game script too, so you can't blame it on that the Houston Texans were down. I said the Houston Texans would hang in games. They're not going to be down in every game like everybody thinks. They can score points. They can be in a shootout. They can be a very good offense. They just didn't give Pierce the volume. I can't really control that. I thought maybe I could predict that they would feed the man the rock since they loved him in the preseason. They practically treated him like Rudy Rudiger and put him on their shoulders at the end of the game, it seemed, when he came off the field. But no, they don't feed him the rock. I can't control that, but I do know he's a good player, and if he gets volume, he will produce. He will produce. CMC looked good for only like 13 touches, says Avi. It is concerning the lack of work that he got. He looked frustrated at times, I think, with the quarterback play. We'll see how that shakes out, but definitely feel like there's some risk with CMC, a lot more than there is like with Barkley balled out. I've said it 100 times on the show already since it began over 40 minutes ago. Barkley balled out. He looks phenomenal. And you got to rank him right now. If we did a draft over, he'd go in the first round. People would take this man probably in the top 5, 6 overall. And deservedly so based on what he did today. Now, what he did today, will that translate all season long? I don't know that anybody can answer that. I think the odds are better that he could than not at this point, given what we saw on the field. You got to be able to react to that. You got to adapt to that. You got to observe it and react. And he looked phenomenal. Let's look at some of these other running backs. Derrick Henry, 82 yards. A little concerning that he's not getting the volume that he would need, but that's going to keep him healthier. If he doesn't get fed 30 carries a game, he'll probably hold up, a better likelihood of holding up. But you're going to get these games where he has 82 yards. You're going to get some games where he has 125 or 150 because he breaks off an 80-yard run and a touchdown. But his stats will be down because he's averaging, I think he averaged something along the lines of like 4 yards per carry. He had 82, let's see, Derrick Henry, 82 yards divided by 21. I don't have the stat on here, so I have to calculate it myself. 3.9. He got 3.9 yards per carry, and that's kind of the way his yards per carry has been trending over the last 3 years. So he was 2 years ago, in the 4.5, then it went down. He's been going downward every year and recently, and so I think averaging 4 to 4.3 yards per carry is probably in the cards given the volume that he's had. He can break off a run at any moment. He's a big dude. He can wear people down, but there is volume concerns for him, and I still am very, very worried. Dalvin Cook had 90 yards on 20 totes of the rock. Jalen Hurts, like I said, 90 yards on the ground and a touchdown, looked phenomenal. Imagine when he's throwing touchdown passes. People are going to lose their mind at how many points this guy's going to score. Joe Mixon, solid, 82 yards. Taysom Hill had that long 57-yard run. He had a touchdown and 81 yards on the ground. Amazing backup tight end that now could maybe be your starting tight end, depending on what you're dealing with. Maybe you trade your tight end. Maybe you're in a bind right now, and now you can trade your tight end because you have Taysom Hill to kind of roll the dice with as your tight end spot. He's going to be on the waiver wire list, of course, and we'll talk about him. We'll talk about Jaylen Warren, who needs to be picked up. We'll monitor Najee Harris and talk about Najee probably later tonight if news breaks, or at least tomorrow. Mariota had 72 yards. James Robinson had 66 and a touchdown. And James Robinson did look effective. He looked really strong. He looked healthy, which, coming off the Cam Akers game to this game, stark difference. And James Robinson looks good. Now, will James Robinson be a top 10, top 15 running back? It's gonna be close. If he could stay healthy, he could definitely push near those numbers, even if Etienne's effective. But if Etienne becomes the monster he's still capable of becoming, it's not like I draft Etienne in the same place I would that I did in a draft. If we're starting today, I'd use ADP to my advantage. I probably would consider him a higher risk, high risk, high reward instead of a medium risk, high reward at certain places where I would have taken him before. You've got to adjust and adapt. There is concern for Etienne. Pacheco had 62 yards and a touchdown. Looked really good. If Clyde gets hurt, Pacheco is going to do really well. He will be one of the top waiver wire guys again. He was before heading into week 1, but he'll certainly be on the list again because he's available in a large number of leagues. Pacheco needs to be grabbed. Michael Carter was efficient, 10 carries, 60 yards, and a touchdown. A lot of people are going to say he's going to hold Breece Hall off. You can say that if you want. It's 1 week, and he's always looked efficient and effective. Breece Hall also can look efficient and effective. Breece Hall, in my opinion, will eventually grab the job. Will it happen in week 1 or 2? No, we didn't think it would. So it's odd that I see so much coming out about how Hall is a concern now when we walked into week 1 knowing we might see this. It's not like Hall was guaranteed anything. It may be earlier on in the offseason we thought he was going to get volume that would equate to mid-third to early 4th round value. But that changed as the the news kind of rolled along and the offense started kind of being predictable as to how they were going to divide that running back room up early on. It's going to change. I firmly believe it's going to change. I'm buying Breece Hall. He'll be on the buy low list for sure. And so Michael Carter and James Robinson, this isn't me digging my heels in, but they're going to be on the sell high list. I'm going to sell Michael Carter and James Robinson high. You'd be crazy not to consider it. I'm not saying anyone's crazy to expect it to continue and to not want to sell at all, or to say I'll sell high, but I'm not selling even like medium. I'm going to sell high, or I'm hanging on to Michael Carter. I can respect that. I'm not giving up on James Robinson. I think he could score 12 touchdowns this year. I'm not going to get on you about that if you want to keep him. I'm selling J-Rob and Michael Carter on the high because I think it's a really good opportunity. Now, Antonio Gibson looked pretty good at times. He had 57 yards. You can see at the very, very bottom. He's a good sell high player as well because, there's just no guarantees with his volume. Etienne down at the bottom, he had 47 yards. Okay? He had 47 yards rushing on 4 attempts. People need to understand that that's a pretty good yards per carry pop. Okay, he had 120-yard run. He had also, it was a 27-yard run. He had 2 first down runs. Etienne did fairly well. He just didn't get the volume. 4 carries. He dropped the 2 touchdowns, which disappointed all of us. But he had 47 rushing yards on 4 totes of the rock. That's actually pretty impressive. It's just the volume wasn't there. And I know that's concerning, and I definitely feel like it's something to be worried about. And the offense does scare me in terms of, can they feed him enough? Will they feed him enough? Will they use him enough? Patterson, we talked about him up top. 120 yards. He was the last 100-yard rusher on the list up above. Let me scroll back up and show you. He's the last 100-yard rusher on the list. He finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He finished number 5 in rushing so far heading into the Sunday evening game. Look, he looks really good right now. It seems to be carrying over. And I think everybody should be a little bit cautious to just sell him for dirt cheap, but you should explore selling him high. Of course, Smitty was right about Houston being better team than everyone thought. They look really good. Houston can beat anybody at any moment. Davis Mills, 240 and 2 TDs. Davis Mills was a monster, considering the cost of entry. I think he looked phenomenal. If the Titans keep losing, fire up Malik. Like I've said, He's going to be one of the best pickups of the year, especially in Superflex. Or one of the best pickups of the year in Superflex, and a crafty QB2 to pick up in redraft if you're desperate and like you're worried about Stafford and you've got nobody else. It's a move to make. Who do you think will get more points tomorrow, Penny or Judy? I'm going to go Judy and PPR, but obviously it could go either way. Penny could get fed. It could be game script that knocks Penny out, but maybe Penny pulls in reception, so you can't fully know. 2 more points, I win the week. I got that one already from Derek Just. Derek, appreciate you. Let me make sure I'm not missing any other Super Chats. Mark Cleveland got that one. And I think I'm caught up on the Supers. Avi. Oh, I didn't finish reading Avi's. So, Patterson, a question mark. Barkley, Herbert, saving Mike Williams sold, and A.J. Dillon on the bench over him. I mean, you can't be mad at yourself or anybody that gave you that advice. Mike Williams was supposed to ball out, and Keenan Allen even got hurt, and it was like, oh my God, the door just opened to Mike Williams, and he still didn't do anything. Mike Williams has done this before. He's also rebounded before. I would probably say buying low on Mike Williams is smart, but only buying low, not buying medium, not buying medium well. You're buying low on Mike Williams. You're not buying at all. Eli Mitchell hurt. Yes, sir. CEH to the moon. I'm so happy to see it. I hope he continues to be used and utilized. Like I've said all offseason long, if he's healthy, he's the guy because the playbook is extremely complicated. The offense is extremely complicated. And losing Tyreek Hill, he is the best option to lean on to facilitate to in terms of the offense and wide receiver, pass catching. There's no running back that's going to come in, even Pacheco, that's going to understand what to do. Mahomes will literally have to tell Pacheco where to go every time they're in a huddle. It's too complicated. Damian Williams told everybody when he was there, he said it's so complicated, he didn't know it after a year. After a year of being there, he was still told by Mahomes where to be on every play because he literally couldn't absorb it all. It's a complex system. Clyde is the veteran, and if Clyde's healthy, he'll continue to get the opportunities. And he's up like 50 to 60 pounds from last year, or about 50 pounds from last year. He was down 50. He played at $160. He plays normally at 208 to 210, and he played at $160, 160 pounds. So, Clyde needs to be given a clean slate this year. The guy's tough as nails to come out and try and play at that weight. He got hurt, but absolutely love Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Avi, the rest of your question, Tyreek looked good. TDs will come, and CMC was solid. CMC was solid, but, I worry about the offense. I worry about continuity. I worry about game script. I worry about him holding up. There's just a lot of little worries that are adding up that make me feel uneasy, and I feel like selling CMC is the right move. I could be wrong on that. I mean, you could say, hey, Smitty, you didn't like Bart. I'm going to miss on stuff, guys. But CMC feels like somebody that it's like, if I'm wrong, who cares? You're going to go buy something amazing. Okay, so who cares? You both win. If I'm wrong, you and your opponent both win. You're going to trade up a CMC who's going to deliver if I'm wrong, and you get somebody back or 2 players back, and you're going to absolutely love what you got back. So, if it's me, I go trade CMC and I try and get into some of these buy low players, multiple players. There's a way to do it that lays off a lot of risk. ETN for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I probably take Amon-Ra St. Brown at this point. I like ETN, but Amon-Ra St. Brown looks like he's going to be utilized and continue to do well. He scored, I think he dropped another play that should have been a touchdown. So Rachaad White froze up right there. CEH had 7 rushes. Anyone know how many receiving targets? We'll get to that in a minute when we get to the receivers. So here's the running backs again, or the rushers, I should say. Burrow had 47 yards rushing, which was crazy. Let's go to the receiving stats here. Cooper Kupp, This is sorted by receptions. Let's sort it by yardage. Justin Jefferson, looking like an absolute monster. I'm watching this game here in the corner of my eye here. Justin Jefferson, 9 catches for 184 and 2 touchdowns. 20-yard receptions. He had 5 of them. He had 5 20-yard receptions. That is unbelievable. He had a long of 64. He had, let's see if there's any of those stats you're looking for. Targets, he had 11. He had 11 targets, Justin Jefferson. The wide receiver targeted the most. I'll sort it by targets. Devontae Adams. Let me also expand this so you can see the target column. Devontae Adams, 17 targets. 17 targets. Jamar Chase, 16 targets. Jamar Chase should have had 2 additional receiving touchdowns, by the way. Cooper Kupp, 15 targets. A.J. Brown, 13 targets. Yeah, volume concern. Yeah, right. A.J. Brown season, baby. Pittman, 13 targets. Pittman looked good. Cooks had 12 targets. This is the last column there. Tyreek Hill, 12. Deontay, 12. Christian Kirk, 12. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let me move Avi. Thank you, Avi, for the super chat. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 12. Higbee got 11, which was surprising when I saw that because I didn't feel like that was the case. JJ, 11. Peoples-Jones, 11. Freiermuth, Breece Hall. Breece Hall had 10 targets, so I wanted to bring that stat up because this is important for everybody freaking out about Breece Hall. Breece Hall was targeted an unbelievable 10 times. That's really solid for Breece Hall. Let me make this thin again, and we'll get back to. Let's see here. Whoa! And it went away. I closed it. Hold on, let me get another screen share up here. This right here is the game by game. So we can actually, let's take a look at this. Let's just go to stats again. And pull it up again here. Okay, so Mahomes 360 passing, Matt Ryan 352, Joe Burrow 338. Joe Burrow had a good game in the fourth quarter. He had a horrible game for 3 quarters, and he came in. And is that not true about Matt Ryan? Why is that not true? Is that not true? Mike White should be getting the start. Let's hope, bro. Let's hope. Did Matt Ryan not have 352? Why are you saying that? Joe Burrow 338. Carson Wentz 313. Joe Flacco 307. Should be benched. Josh Allen 297, Derek Carr 295, Justin Herbert had a nice game. Could have been nicer, but he still did well. It was 3 TDs. Let me make this a little wider here. Hold on one second. Mahomes had 5 TDs. Matt Ryan had 1 and 1 INT. Joe Burrow had 2 and 4 INTs, but he had the 2 touchdowns and the 300 yards. So it was a salvageable game for Joe Burrow. It was crazy how he came back and looked pretty good at the end of it. Wentz had 4 TDs, which was crazy. Flacco 1 TD, 1 INT. Josh Allen 3 TDs. Jameis Winston 2. Ryan Tannehill 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts had 0 passing touchdowns. Just wait. Yeah, I don't know why he said Matt Ryan didn't have that. It's not an error. It's not a stat error. Wrong. Tampa Bay 6, Dallas 3. Tampa Bay just missed a field goal. Brady does not look engaged in this game. Buy low targets. We're going to get to all that, Marco, tomorrow on the waiver wire and stuff. We'll talk about all that. Don't worry. Yeah, a lot of missed kickers this week it's been brutal for kickers. Dotson will be a pickup of the week, one of the pickups of the week for sure. Let's go over to the receiving department again. So we got receptions. Let's go over to the yardage and touchdowns and sort by yardage. So A.J. Brown, imagine if A.J. Brown got touchdowns. Michael Thomas, high-end wide receiver 2. I don't know if I'd go high-end. I would say he's breaching wide receiver 2 value for sure. But it's one game. He's still got to stay healthy. There's a whole lot going on there. High-end wide receiver 2. I don't want to say that because what if you go trade for him at high-end wide receiver 2 value? I wouldn't recommend doing that yet. I think he's borderline there. I think he's in the wide receiver 2 conversation. But I don't think I'm going to say high-end. Travis Kelce, 121 yards and a TD. Diggs, 122 and a TD. Jamar Chase, 129. Should have had 3 TDs and like $160 or $180. It was crazy. This guy dropped 2 touchdown passes. Pittman, 121 and 1. Kirk, 117 and 0. Landry had a surprising 114 and 0. Robbie Anderson, 102 and 1. He always seems to be like a week 1 guy or early season guy that doesn't do anything. Gabe Davis now looking like he had a mediocre performance after all these wide receiver performances. Buy Mike Williams. Yeah, I'd buy Mike Williams. I'd buy Mike Williams for sure. At a low price. Waddle, 69 and 1 TD. Keenan Allen got hurt. This guy's going to be a pickup. DeAndre Carter, depending on Keenan Allen's status, he's going to be a nice pickup. He had 64 yards and a TD. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 64 and a TD. Joe Mixon had 63 yards, 0 TDs. Goddard, 60 and 0. Bateman, 59 and 1. McLaurin, 58 and 1. Dotson, I don't know, is it Dotson moving forward? I mean, it's week 1. Mike Thomas, 57 and 2. Yeah, so like the yardage was decent. The touchdowns are what did it, but the dude grabbed him. He looked good. I'm not going to lie. I liked what I saw to Mike Thomas. He looked amped, motivated. The Saints played pretty hard. I like the idea of Mike Thomas. I just am not trusting him fully yet, but I think you could trust him as a good wide receiver too, but I'd say high-end no. Dak Prescott throwing an INT here. Judy for MT. That's arguable. I could get behind either one of those. I could definitely get behind either. Dak with the interception. So happy with Freiermuth. Steady production. How could Mixon not get a TD? I don't know. Daddy Dimes loves the game tonight. Mixon a sell high for Meet the Woo. I would consider selling high. I would consider selling anybody high. A.J. Brown is scary. D. Adams is miles above A.J. Brown in airspace. I don't know about that, bro. I think A.J. Brown he starts scoring touchdowns and his stat line doubles, bro. So I absolutely love A.J. Brown and Devontae Adams, but Devontae Adams can survive. He looked really good. Devontae Adams looked really good. Julio Jones rumbling a little bit. Mark Andrews, 52 yards, 0 INTs. Let's go to some of the games. Let's go to some of the games and look at the scores. So, I wanted to go to the Falcon game. Let's take a look at the Falcon game and look at the game log. Taysom Hill. So Winston had 269 and 2 TDs. He didn't do too bad. He did get hurt. I think it's highly likely that he's going to stay healthy. He almost didn't make it out of this game. And I know that everyone says it's Dalton that's going to be the backup, but I just don't buy it. I think if something happened, that maybe they turn to Dalton briefly, but how long can he hold the job? So Taysom Hill, to me, is just valuable in that he's got multiple different reasons that he could be valuable. 4 carries for 81 yards and a touchdown. Kamara, where was Kamara? 9 carries for 39 yards. Kamara would be a buy low, I think, especially given the fact that Kamara is going to have the suspension risk on top of not doing anything in this game. He only had 3 catches for 7 yards. And as you can see on screen, Kamara, 3 catches for 7 yards right here. And he also had the 9 carries for 39 yards. I don't hear anybody talking about Kamara. I don't hear anybody talking about Kamara busting. Everyone's giving Kamara the benefit of the doubt coming out of week 1. I think other players should get the benefit of the doubt as well. But I think you should buy low on Kamara if you can, because you're going to have both that off-the-field risk and the fact that he busted risk. So it's going to be something that you want to explore. Yep, sack, 3rd and 3. Down goes Brady. Falcons. Kyle Pitts, 2 catches for 19 yards. If there's a buy low coming out of week 1, it is Kyle Pitts. At least top 4. Top 4. I'm gonna write Pitts on the board here just to make sure I emphasize that later. Kyle Pitts is a buy low. An amazing buy low. 2 catches for 19 yards. Let people run away from that. Let people get scared about Mariota. Let people worry about it. Ritter could come in. Kyle Pitts is going to survive. Kyle Pitts had 7 targets and only 2 receptions. So what that tells me is the offense is designing and drawing things up for Kyle Pitts, but Mariota isn't connecting. So eventually that will get solved, or he'll get replaced. I go get Kyle Pitts, and I buy all day long. So he'll be on the buy low list in week for week 2. Let's take a look at the Bears-Niners game. This was a debacle, and it was just an awful outing for Trey Lance and this team. Trey didn't look as bad as people like to make it out. He didn't. I mean, he was set up to fail, is what he was. He was playing a pool of water. He lost Travis Kelce. Now, excuses. I get it. You could only make excuses for so long. I mean, he's got to deliver. It is what it is. Situation and player cannot be separated. Change of heart on Pittman. I never had, but that's the thing, Derek. I've never had a negative perspective on Pittman. People just took him too early. I don't think taking him at the top of round 3 or at the end of round 2 is a smart move for your team. Your team could look very weak and thin if you took Pittman at the end of round 2 or top of 3. I'm not against Pittman. I like Pittman in round 4. I think Pittman was a smash in round 4. I've never once disliked Pittman in round 4. I don't like him I didn't like him in the top of 3, and I especially didn't like him at the end of 2. So I still like Pittman. There's nothing wrong with Pittman. No change of heart needed. I think he's going to float around value that will be top of 4 home run type value, meaning he probably will finish inside the 3rd round valuation wise, but you're buying him outside of that, so it's good value. Javonte can have a good game. Yeah, I think so. Trey needed linemen to block better. Yeah. So looking at this game, Trey Lance, 13 carries, 54 yards. That was kind of nice to see on the stat line, given he wasn't getting touchdown passes. But it was horrible weather. No blocking. It's hard to judge the offense entirely off that, but they lose Eli Mitchell. They didn't have Kittle. It's concerning in general. Debo had 2 receptions for 14 yards. Debo ran the ball 8 times for 52 and a touchdown. Debo actually did okay. Debo had a decent game. Hollywood Brown and Schultz for Pitts. it's arguable, but I'd probably take Kyle Pitts. Khalil Herbert. Yeah, I can talk about Khalil Herbert. 9 carries, 45 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, he's a moon man for a reason, right? We love Khalil Herbert. He's the kind of guy that can win a league if he gets in there. And David Montgomery is no player that can, I think, fully avoid the risks of injury that I think maybe await him, because he just seems like the kind of guy that's gonna get overworked or disappoint. 17 carries for 26 yards. Montgomery averaged 1.5 yards per carry. Herbert averaged 5 yards per carry. Granted, it was about half the work. Montgomery got double the work, but 9 carries is not a small sample size. 9 carries is a pretty good sample size. Herbert averaged 5 yards per carry. Monty averaged 1.5 yards per carry. So Herbert getting more and more work. J-Rob is sell high? Yeah, absolutely. But do I sell him low? No. Do I sell him high? Yeah. I mean, just take advantage of the fact that he has the high value. Even if I'm wrong and he continues to play exactly at that level, which you could only dream he would, right? You're buying something amazing. So you don't need to worry about it. It's a win-win. If you sell J-Rob and he works out, it's a win-win for both of you because you're getting something amazing. Or you're not doing the deal. And if he busts on that owner, then you made out like a bandit on that. Tony Pollard. I hope Tony Pollard breaks one out. Robinson or Osborne. I'd rather have James Robinson over Osborne. Like, that's not selling high, bro. That's like selling before he had a good game. You know, that's not even close. But Herbert needs to be added. And we'll have him on the waiver wire show. I'll make sure to talk about Herbert. Khalil Herbert needs to be added. What a rough game that was, though. That was a brutal, brutal, brutal game. Dak with the option. Let's look at this Carolina game. The Carolina game here. Get some music going. Brissett, I mean, no INTs. 18 for 34. Looked okay at best. Nick Chubb, 22 totes for 141. Kareem Hunt, 11 for 46 and 1 TD. I mean, Kareem Hunt was even averaging good yards, decent yards per carry. It was this that he did his damage. 4 catches for 24 yards and a touchdown. He looked good. 2 touchdowns on the day. Kareem Hunt. Probably frustrating Nick Chubb owners to no end because they'd love to have a touchdown in there. Was that CeeDee Lamb? No. Panthers side of the football. Christian McCaffrey. A lot of people said he looked good. I don't know that he looked that good. 10 carries for 33 yards. That's 3.3 a pop. I don't think that looked good. I'm worried about CMC. I'm selling CMC. I'm selling Derrick Henry. I'm selling CMC. I'm no longer selling Barkley. Unless I'm selling Barkley extremely high for players that I absolutely love and would love to own. So hear me out right now. Hear what I'm saying. 3 guys I was selling earlier. Only 2 of them I'm continuing to sell. I'm not selling Barkley unless I'm selling like stupid high. I'm selling Henry and I'm still selling CMC. So changed my tune on Barkley to a significant degree. Not that I hated him or called him a bust, but Barkley was a 3rd round player to me until he proved it. He proved it. I'm still worried a little bit because he feels like an injury risk type player, but he looks so good. I'm willing to overlook that, and I absolutely don't want to sell Barkley unless I'm selling him high. Dalvin, I would sell Dalvin. Kamara, I would probably try and sell him, but I don't know that you can sell him for a ton now. I would buy him low. Mike, should I pick up Mike Williams for Brandon Cooks? Mike Williams shouldn't be on waivers. He was cut? Was he already cut after the game? Like, how's Mike Williams on waivers walking into the game? Did he get cut after the game? Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not gonna dig my heels in on Barkley. Barkley looks good. He looks good. What does anybody want me to say other than, look, he climbed from 3rd round value to me to the bottom of round 1, or at least the top of 2, coming off of 1 week. It's 1 week, but he looks so good and strong. I think he totally deserves that bump. I'm still worried. I would still consider selling ultra high, but it would have to be stupid high. James Robinson and Travis Etienne combined for 15 carries and 113 yards, 7.5 yards per carry, says DTWD. James Robinson had a day. He did have a good day. Let's go to James Robinson and Etienne and look at these numbers because they're actually pretty promising in some respects, and even ETNs are promising. ETN dropped at least one touchdown. You could argue that he dropped a second one, a potential second one. So looking at the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence didn't have a great day. 275, 1 TD, 1 INT. James Robinson had 11 carries for 66 yards. But if you look at ETN's stat line right below that, ETN had 11.8 yards per carry. So they both did very well. James Robinson just got the right carries. So I don't think like ETN's awful. I don't think anybody should jump ship on ETN. Am I disappointed that he dropped 2 touchdown passes? Absolutely. He's one of the better pass catching backs to come out of college for some time, and he's dropping footballs, which I don't think is a trend. I don't expect it to continue. But 2 catches for 18 yards, targeted 4 times, 2 drops. Those were probably 2 touchdowns. He would probably be looking at, in my opinion, he'd be looking at 4 receptions for 33 yards and 2 TDs, and also having 11.8 yards on the ground for 47 yards, which would have put him borderline right around 70 to 80 yards and 2 touchdowns and 4 receptions. That would have been quite a day out of ETN. Quite a day out of ETN. So am I jumping ship on ETN? No, I'm not. Do I sell high on James Robinson? Yes, he got 11 carries. He did really well with those 11 carries. I would not sell him low, but you most certainly would want to explore a sell high opportunity off of 11 carries and a touchdown. And then on the ground, James Robinson had 1 catch, or through the air, 1 catch for 3 yards and 1 TD. Very, very efficient day for James Robinson, but it was an efficient day. I'm about to start J-Rob and ETN, says Cooper. I don't know if I'd do that. The Jacksonville Jaguar offense is very vulnerable to disappoint you. I don't know if I'd be starting both of them. It depends on your options. I traded Gibby and Pierce for Pittman because I was running back heavy. Pittman's going to be a beast this season. Gibby and Pierce, that could work out fine. I think Pierce is still a very good player to own. People ask me, should they cut Pierce? The answer is no. Don't go cutting Pierce. That would be reckless. That would be crazy. Am I concerned at all about him? Sure. Burrow still turned out 19 points exactly. He had a horrible day, probably the worst day he's going to have all year, and he still got you 19 points in one league. One of my leagues, he got me 28 points, different scoring. But he's between that range, 18 and 28 is what he scored for some people. 25 without turnovers, depends on your scoring for turnovers as well. Godwin looks hurt. Yep, he's already out. Godwin's out. Injuries are striking already. Najee, it's either a knee or the foot. I believe it's a knee because of the way the knee was bent backwards, bro. Let's look at this Godwin situation. Based on the look of it, that ball hit the ground, so that is an incomplete pass. They're not going to re-show what happened to his knee. If the Bengals can put it together for 4 quarters, look out. Yep. Superflex, should I grab Malik Willis or Deshaun Watson off waivers? Probably both if you can. Superflex, those are 2 great players to have stashed. That can win leagues. Julio catching passes. Now, is Julio hurt? Julio's slow to get up. He's going to the sideline. He's not feeling real good. Maybe he's just winded. He might just be winded. But his hamstrings are paper thin. Julio's not lasting the year. There's no way. Especially the way he levels his body out. Godwin sat on my bench today. Hope he's okay. It doesn't look like he's okay. He was limping in a way that appears to me he's going to be questionable or out for the game. But who knows? Sometimes those knee injuries are strange. But Godwin looks to be, if I had to guess, very, very questionable to return. It wasn't like he went to the sideline to get something looked at. Feels weird, doc. He literally was limping with his head down walking away. So Godwin is not looking too good. I mean, this is the problem, gaming. This is why, look, I'm telling you, I know some of you guys don't like to hear the injury stuff. In Barkley, if you understand the way I attacked Barkley differently than I've attacked Godwin, differently than I've attacked J.K. Dobbins, differently than I attacked Barkley last year. Some people come in here running their mouth, saying things like, Smitty, you were wrong on Barkley. I wasn't wrong on Barkley. I was cautious on Barkley. There's a big difference. I didn't say avoid Barkley. I said Barkley's a third rounder to me. I like him in the third round. I can get behind him at 3.5. I was a little low on him, admittedly, but it wasn't a void season. It wasn't a void season with Barkley. Barkley was 1 year removed from his ACL tear. JK's not. JK's his first year back. Godwin, his first year back. Both of them weren't ready. And this is what happens. And exactly what I've been saying the whole offseason. You rush him out there when he's not ready. He's going to get hurt. The knee's not ready. There's all kinds of swelling and reactive things going on with the knee when you push it out there and you start getting hit for the first time. It's ridiculous by the team to even rush him back. Smitty, answer my super chat. Yeah, who said that? KCM? I'm sorry, bro. I'm going for it, bro. I'm going to find it. Here I go, KC. We got the Zoom call in a minute, guys. KCM, where is your... There it is. Pick up Robbie Anderson after this game. I mean, KCM, it totally depends on who you're giving up. I mean, do I expect Robbie Anderson to continue? I don't think so, bro. Like, anything could happen. I'd hate to stray you away from a Robbie Anderson breakout season, bro, but this dude almost retired because I don't think he has it in him to stay healthy or play a full, season, whatever. He's always been pretty good. He is pretty good. He's not bad. I just don't know that I trust him. I mean, I'd imagine, KCM, there are better players to pick up this week than Robbie Anderson. But if Robbie Anderson is actually the best player to pick up and you have somebody expendable, you're not dropping like I'd hate to see you just cut bait on a Eno Benjamin or a Rashad White or a Zamir White or someone like that just because of 1 week, when the whole design and purpose of having one of those players is to stash and hold, wait, and then boom, they come into the lineup and they explode. You can't expect everything like that to happen in week one. Eno Benjamin was a crafty pickup walking into this week, and I already have people DMing me saying, Smitty, I took your advice and I picked up Eno Benjamin. Now should I cut him? Like, what are you doing? That's not what... It wasn't for sure that anything was happening this week. Eno Benjamin had a risk of going out and just looking efficient enough that someone else is going to get the bright idea and grab him before you get a chance to stash him. There's no guarantee Eno Benjamin or Khalil Herbert or any of these guys are going to come in and stay in the lineup yet without an injury, nor do we expect it at all. And injury's hard to predict. Khalil Herbert had such a good game that if Eno Benjamin or Rashad White or any of these other running backs like Zamir White did what Khalil Herbert did, it would be too late to go get Khalil Herbert or whoever. Now it's too late to get Khalil Herbert. I mean, you can get him, but it's going to be tough. An absolute tough assignment because he's going to be on everybody's radar now because Khalil Herbert had a very nice day. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm caught up on the super chats. Man, what a day. What a day. Going live on the Zoom call in a little bit. Let's open the phone lines for just a little bit and talk about week number 1 and how upset some of you are, or let me talk some of you down from the ledge because some of you are going to be freaking out. Dial into the show.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial into thy show. The phone lines are almost open. I'm sorry. They are open right now. Dial in. Very, very interested to hear some of these calls, man. Trying to walk some of you back from the ledge. No panic chamber for ETN. He'll be in the panic chamber or in the episode, but will I put him in the chamber and close the door? That's the question. Sometimes guys make the panic chamber episode, yet I don't put them in the panic chamber. They make the episode because they're worthy of being talked about because people are freaking out about them. Maybe the phone line wasn't working.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. Mashed potatoes, Brees Hall. Wait on Brees Hall. Be patient. Baker. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
Yo, what's going on, man? It's Jose speaking.
What's up, Jose?
Bro, what I do with James Cook? I'm about to shoot myself. I'm about to kick this guy off.
James
I
Cook?
won a 0 RB draft.
I mean, James Cook or Dalvin? You said James Cook? I mean, what are you going to do with James? I mean, you could cut him, but like, who are you going to pick up, you know?
Well, right now, you were looking at the wide receiver from, I think it was the Chargers or something like that. Or I should pick up Drake. Drake is available, too, on my league.
Drake and who else?
There's Hillard. Drake is available. Ingram. Buckhead. And Pacheco, too, is available.
I'd probably pick up Pacheco over James Cook. Yeah. Pacheco looks involved. He's involved even though Clyde's doing well. And if Clyde goes down, Pacheco's going to ball out, bro. That could be your zero running back savior right there. Go look at Khalil Herbert. Is he available? He had a phenomenal outing.
No, I already have him. I already have him stashed. I have Herbert, I have Benjamin, and I have Wilson Jr. I think Eli went out with an ACL, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Bro, it's a tough one. I mean, I love all the usual suspects here. This is the waiver wire list right here from before the week one kicked off. Guys like Khalil Herbert are going to climb up. Kenneth Walker shouldn't be on this list. He was only there because some people said that they were dropped, and we're talking about that. Eno Benjamin's still up there. Pacheco is going to probably climb up. We'll have to go over this list and add a lot more names to it. DeAndre Carter, there's a lot of guys to add to it, but like Khalil Herbert, Pacheco, they're at the top of this. Jalen Warren is now going to be at the top of this thing, so we're going to have to break this down a little later. But yeah, I mean, I love Pacheco. I'd get Pacheco in a heartbeat if I'm you.
I have Harris and Singletary as my starters because I went 0 RB. So I have Hurts, Chase, Devontae Adams, Harris, Singletary, Pitts, and Sutton. That's my starters.
Yeah, I mean that's tough sledding, but you need to land these running backs. You need to scoop them up, bro. You know, go buy low on a Damian Pierce right now. You could probably use Sutton to go get. I imagine you might want to wait until Sutton plays his game too, or maybe not. Maybe you strike before, you know, because what if he has a bad game? But you could maybe trade Sutton for ETN right now, bro. You know, you could turn your 0 RB into an actual player that you know after 1 week you're able to steal away, and you shouldn't be stealing away at that price.
Try to get ETN, you said, right?
Yeah, I mean, for Sutton, you could always wait and see if Sutton blows up and take the risk of him having a bad game.
Well,
you know?
my league is pretty dumb. Should I try Kamara?
Yeah. Go get Kamara. Go try Kamara. Why not?
Why
not, bro? Why have hamburger when you could go have steak? You know,
yeah, 100%.
Try it. If not,
especially if he does good this week, I'll get him out.
If not, in and out, still good. You're good. All right, bro. Appreciate you calling in, man.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Here's a couple super chats, and then I'm gonna actually come back probably later tonight, I imagine, and do a show. We're gonna be going on the Zoom call right now. I hate to leave in here with 370 people in the room. But we're going to go on the Zoom call in just a minute. If you want to go on the Zoom call, all you got to do is let me drop the link in the live chat right now. Anybody that has the $9.99 a month plan on the YouTube memberships, the YouTube exclusive memberships, I'm going to drop it in right here. Anybody that has this plan right here is going to be able to get on the Zoom call, and you'll find the link in the community tab. It's halftime. We're going to jump on the call. Time to panic on Kadarius Toney. I mean, yeah, I wasn't really high on him anyway, so sure. What should he's got talent, but it's always like hard to imagine him putting it all together. What should we do with Eli Mitchell? You got to wait and see until we find out what's going on with Eli Mitchell. Concerned about Mooney? No, they're playing in like a puddle, like a swimming pool of water like this thick. Like, we got to have a little patience for everybody that played in that game, including those Niners as well. Mitchell, it's not looking good, bro. You're going to have to go handcuff, my man. Opinion on Cam Akers, he was a complete avoid for me. Now, in defense of Achilles tendons right now, maybe the doctor that did James Robinson's Achilles needs to go and take a look at Cam Akers' Achilles, because James Robinson does look pretty decent right now. Obviously, he looked really good for having an Achilles injury. But he still only had 11 carries. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. The James Robinson season's here. I think pump the brakes a little. But yeah. Don't fret about Mooney. Don't fret about Mooney. Don't overreact about Mooney. Don't overreact about Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase should have had 3 touchdowns. Joe Burrow should have had 2 extra touchdowns. Joe Burrow technically should have had 4 interceptions and 5 TDs. But Jamar Chase, or at least 4 TDs, 4 and 4. But Jamar Chase literally didn't get his feet in on 2 of those touchdowns, or dropped one of them. Unbelievable. Opinion on Mike Williams ruined your week. Decent buy low, but also I wouldn't blame you for selling medium rare. All right, guys, I'm going on the Zoom call. Link is in the description. I'll drop it one more time. Going on the Zoom call right now. Appreciate every single one of you. Apologize I can't stay longer, but we did go an hour and a half. That's pretty good. And I may be back tonight, may not be back tonight, but we're definitely doing the Monday through Friday show tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. Probably doing some emergency show as well, on top of doing waiver wire. So get ready for that. Appreciate you all. I'll see you all later. Peace out.